Welcome to the Assist Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Schwartz, and joining me today is someone I grew up with. We graduated high school together. We have had a lot of years together, maybe 8 years. Joining me today, my old friend, Michael Grau. Michael, how are you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Just moved into the new place yesterday. It's exciting. I'm here by myself. 3 other roommates have not moved in yet, so that's cool.
When do they move in?
I think next week. Next week I actually have to share the house. So
you'll have a little time to yourself for a little bit.
Oh yes, with just a big 3-floor townhouse, just all by myself.
Living in luxury, it sounds like.
Well, not like you did over the summer. This summer, for people that don't know, you went to Portugal, not necessarily for classes, but to work. So what exactly were you doing? I think that was the mystery of the summer, because we didn't get to talk too much, obviously. We're like, what is Michael actually doing? I don't really know. So explain to the people what you're doing.
Basically, the job title that I did was data management intern.
Okay.
And so what I did is I worked for Europcar, which is one of the biggest car rental companies in Europe. And what I did each day was I took emails from various countries because they operate throughout the globe, and I'd make updates and changes to their database. So I'd do maybe 30, 40 a day, and it would come from countries like Italy, Greece, Malaysia, Egypt, you name it. And I updated it in their database, and that was pretty much it.
So that all that work has to be like really translated, right? I mean, for you, I know you spoke a little Portuguese, you ended up learning, but not enough really to be fluent, right?
Yeah, so I learned a little bit of Portuguese, and it wasn't a big issue at Europcar because I did not realize this going into it, but people in Portugal speak English very, very well.
Okay.
And it's almost harder to find someone who doesn't speak English than it is to find someone who does. And since Europcar is a global company, they decided to make everything, all communications in English, just so they'd have a standardized language across the board. So regardless of what country I was emailing with, it was all in English. So it made my life very easy.
Well, that's good. So you said Portuguese people speak English really well. I mean, is there any like particular reason for that other than just, because like France is probably really close to us, obviously Great Britain, but France people usually speak really well English too, really good English. Wow, that was bad. I don't speak good English apparently. But I don't associate Portugal with being close to America.
Yeah, and I don't think I did either, and I feel like a lot of people don't realize it, but the Portuguese absolutely love American pop culture.
Oh, okay.
They love the different bands that come out. I think the week after I left, they were actually having a Post Malone concert. I know, I think Quavo was doing a concert there as well. But they love American pop culture, and they love our television and other forms of media as well. So, and unlike a lot of different countries, they don't translate it, because one of their leaders back like 10, 20 years ago decided that they wanted to, they felt like it was taking away from the message that the media was portraying if they translated it to Portuguese. So they leave everything in English if it's from the US or England or any other English media, and they just put Portuguese subtitles for people who don't speak English. So that way all these kids and all these adults that grew up, like everyone I worked with, spoke very good English because they grew up watching the same TV shows that we did or our parents did.
Wow, that's fascinating.
That's
crazy
so weird.
to think of. Yeah. And like, I mean, it makes a lot of sense because I have heard of issues, for instance, the second biggest market for American movies is China, obviously. And sometimes with some movies, there's been the Chinese equivalent, for whatever reason, comes out a little bit more off taste or something like that. So I've always thought that's kind of interesting. That is interesting that Portugal just leaves it. Okay.
Yeah, it was nice because after a work day, I could actually turn on the TV and watch some television. I didn't have to like struggle.
Right. Yeah, I
too
can
much.
imagine. So what was your leisure time like when you weren't working?
Well, the leisure time, I didn't have too much because the way I had to get to work is I had to walk down probably 50, 60 steps, then walk maybe 200 yards to a metro station. I had to take that metro to a connecting metro, and then I had to walk probably a quarter mile to a bus stop, and then took the bus for 40 minutes to work every day. And so it was about an hour to 2 hours every single day to and from work.
That's insane.
So I really got home at like 6 o'clock every day and left at, I think 7 o'clock.
And this is in Libson, right?
Yeah, Lisbon.
Okay.
It was a really nice city, but the public transportation, you end up just having to wait a long time. And then the traffic's just crazy.
It's not very efficient there.
No, I wouldn't say it's efficient, but it is a lot more affordable. And if you really want to, you can walk to everything.
Okay. Yeah, that is interesting because I know Thorne came on here a couple weeks ago and he was talking about how the biggest thing about Italy that he doesn't like is that the biggest thing about America compared to Italy is that in Italy you walk everywhere. And he was suggesting that perhaps contributes to our obesity epidemic here. Is it the same thing in Portugal?
Yeah, I'd say so. But the people there love cars. They're very big car fanatics. And I think I've seen more luxury cars in Lisbon than I have in the United States. At least at one time. Like, for example, I lived in a poor side of Lisbon. So it was a lot of rundown buildings. So it was very affordable to live, but there was a Maserati parked right outside my apartment one of the days.
Very nice car.
Yeah, so I'm the only times I've ever seen those kind of cars are in like dealerships. You don't see a lot of German cars just like out and about. You usually see a lot of like Ford, Chevy,
right? Yeah, the American
Toyota, the nice Kia Soul toaster. But
I would say
it was weird.
Yeah, I'd say down here in Florida, I definitely see more of those kind of foreign, more expensive brand cars. But when you're in Ohio and you're in North Ridgeville, Ohio, it's definitely
right.
A lot of Ford, a lot of Chevy, that kind of thing. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
I know one time there's a
cars.
Lamborghini on Center Ridge Road I passed by, and I was like, never seen that before.
That just kind of like takes you back. You're like, why is this here? It doesn't make any sense.
Oh, exactly. And I'm sure it's from a different city. No one's driving Lamborghinis in Ridgeville. But it's like you see a Tesla on the street, you're like, hey, nice. And it's like down here, it's like, nah, one to the left, one to the right. It's much different.
I did, however, because a week after my trip, and I did do some traveling during it. So I went to Madrid, Paris, Toulouse, Napoli,
Greece, right?
Preveza, Greece, and Amsterdam.
Okay.
In Amsterdam, all their taxis that I saw were Teslas, actually.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's insane.
It was really weird to see because every taxi was Tesla, and outside the airport and in random taxi stations, it was just all these cars plugged into a charger.
Wow. That's probably the future,
really
though.
Weird.
That's probably our adult life right there in like 10, 15 years.
It's the best way to do it. And there's like a ton of, they use renewable energy like crazy. And there's, I think I saw some statistic in the hostel I was staying. There's like 850,000 bicycles in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So there's more bikes than cars in that city.
A lot of the liberal cities, even here, will do that. They'll have really nice bike share programs. They'll, obviously, the electric charging stations are insane. Like even Ann Arbor, up in Michigan, I was just there last weekend. And their bike share program, their transportation systems, so much better developed than anything. I'd say even that Cleveland has.
See, I really like that. I like the different ways of getting around. And I guess that's kind of the appeal of a bigger city with a lot of bike paths is like you really don't have to take your car and get stuck in traffic, waste money that way.
Yeah, you're wasting gas, you're wasting time.
And I would totally do that in North Ridgeville, but literally to go putt-putting, like if I go through Meadow Lakes to go putt-putting, it's 6.4 miles to there and back.
Yeah, I was going to say, because that's closer to my side of town, and we live on the opposite corners. So, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and getting out of a development, you're going to spend, like, especially if you're walking, you're going to spend, like, 20 minutes walking just to get outside of the development, and then the closest store is, like, another 20, 30 minutes walk.
Yeah,
I guess that was...
I was just going to say, that's the problem with the whole... I mean, our city's designed as a bunch of... it's a suburb, but it's designed in a bunch of smaller community things, that just... there's you can name them off: Meadow Lakes, Waterbury, that I live in.
Yeah.
You live in Avalon. There's Mills Creek, and I'm missing some. Don't write in, people of North Ridgevillians, to say that I disrespected your little community. But I think that's just the way that the city's developed, and it's not. It's encouraging to walk in your own community, but when you're talking about, like you're saying, like to actually go do something, putt, Chipotle, or whatever, you can't just get up and walk.
Yeah, it would just be so nice to be able to walk to everywhere. Like even in Cleveland and other cities that I've been to, it's just not. It's not kind of encouraged. Like in Amsterdam, like there's literally a bike path adjacent to the road or parallel to the road everywhere, and you could literally just people biked. Like there was very few cars on the road. Like maybe if in the stretch of an hour, I saw maybe 50 cars and probably 200 bicycles just going around.
Yeah, that's how Ann Arbor is. It's the same kind of setup.
Yeah, see, that sounds so much nicer.
Yeah, when we went to the Barcelona game last week, Katie and I just walked all the way. I mean, it was a long walk, but it saved driving. It was a half-hour walk, but it saved driving down there, trying to park, all that stuff. It was very doable.
You probably had to pay to park too.
Oh, I would have if I did, but yeah, like I said.
And then you have to sit in traffic too. So if you just walk, I don't know. I feel like a 30-minute walk isn't a big deal. But if you have to walk somewhere that's like 2 hours away, it's like, crap.
Yes. Yeah. So the 30-minute walk wasn't that big of a deal, and we got to the stadium nice and early, so that was really cool.
How'd that go, by the way? Like, who won, and what were the highlights from that?
Barcelona won 4-0. So
okay.
Glad you asked. There are about 80,000 people there, so it's pretty cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean the stadium holds 110, but so they didn't sell out. But I don't know if it's the biggest stadium in the country, but I know it's the biggest college football stadium in the country.
See, that's still pretty impressive for two teams coming over to play in a game that means relatively nothing.
I agree, but despite that, Barcelona play. We're recording this on Thursday, the 15th. Barcelona open their season tomorrow, so. Do the math. Last week when they played, they had a week left to prepare, so they played their full lineup. I mean, they played PK, Lonley, Ter Stegen, De Jong. Their midfield is a little, they rested Busquets and stuff. They played, and Messi obviously was injured, so I didn't get to see Messi, but that's okay. Because at the end of the day, when you're playing Suarez, Dembele, and Griezmann, I mean, I think that front
you're
three
still
starts,
getting quite a show.
Yeah, that front three starts for anybody. So Suarez had 2 great goals. Griezmann scored his first goal for the club, and
that's exciting.
Dembele scored as well. So yeah, Katie fell in love with Griezmann. So
good.
She's gonna get a jersey. She says that has the number 17 that says "Daddy" on it.
Oh my lord.
I mean, if it allows her to get more into Barcelona this year, I am fully aware. I'm fully okay. That's fine.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You can finally have somebody partake in watching a game with you.
Well, she'll watch some when I have been home and stuff like that over the breaks and stuff like that. But I don't think she's had the full season, all 38 games. So that'll be fun. Well, plus the Champions League, so... Yeah, it was definitely a great experience. So, and I mean, even though, like you said, it doesn't mean too much, it wasn't the, it's not a league game, obviously, but with these kind of things, if there's ever a team in your area or your team in your area, I think you just have to go. I've never seen them play in person, and I don't know when I'm going to be able to go over there for the plane ticket, and be able to just go over there for a week and watch a game. So it was very worth it for me.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think a few years ago, I think it was my junior year in high school, we drove all the way to DC to go see Chelsea play Barcelona.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask, is if you've seen Chelsea. So you went to that game. Didn't they win?
Yeah, they won, I think, in penalty kicks. Okay. So that was a really good game, but I didn't get to see Messi, so that was kind of sad.
I know, right? So I remember that year because they didn't bring him over. It was a World Cup year or something like that? Your junior year. That would have been 4. Yeah, so...
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense why you don't want to use all your players, but they did showcase a lot of young talent, and even the young players were just so good on Barcelona.
Yeah, I mean, it's just part of the system, part of the program. So that's what I was talking with. The young players for Chelsea are doing really well, though.
Yeah,
well, I mean, you guys have a transfer ban, so they have to.
Well, we don't want to talk about that.
So, real quick, I went to the North Ridgeville-Strongsville scrimmage before I left.
Yeah, how was that?
It was good, but I ran into Chris Green, our old club coach. Whether he wants to be mentioned on this podcast or not, I don't know. But he's being name dropped. And it was great to catch up with him a little bit. He was telling me how he went to Barcelona in February with some of the CSA guys, or Cleveland Force, whatever the heck they're called now.
Oh, that's crazy.
He's someone who's able to watch all their youth training and how it's just the exact same all the way through at La Masia and stuff like that. And I mean, the difference now, you talk to a lot of pure Barcelona people at the club. The difference now is that we just sell all of our talent or loan them out, and they never break through. So.
Yeah, I feel like that's changing with a lot of big name clubs. They're no longer developing a lot of their players, and they're just opting to buy them.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's exactly what Chelsea does too. No offense, but like, you guys have how many people out on loan?
Oh, I know. I keep seeing all these memes of when Chelsea has one injury, and it's just and the fleet of loans come back, and it's just a bunch of airplanes flying through the air. But they have so many people on loan, and they've had so much talent just like slip through. But one of their new players that actually came up from there's 2 of them. I can't remember the one guy's name, but the other one's name is Tammy Abraham.
Yeah, he was playing at Aston Villa last year.
Yeah, he played really, really well for Chelsea yesterday. He did, however, miss the game. To go level with Liverpool, he missed his penalty. Well, it was saved, but he played really well.
Yeah, I was gonna say he missed the 5th one, didn't he?
Yep. I mean, but that's like they used 3 young players. I think Tammy Abraham and the other guy who graduated Chelsea's youth academy are only like 20, 21 years old. And then Pulisic's literally, I think, 20 to 22, somewhere in there.
Well, wasn't Abraham, he was the leading scorer for the championship, wasn't he?
Yeah, I believe so.
That's what I thought. Interesting. I mean, that's yeah. I mean, and you have what's his name? Callum Hudson-Odoi, correct?
I believe so. Okay. I know that there was rumors for a while that he was going to leave, or that he was going to get sold. But I think Frank Lampard made sure that he was going to stay.
Yeah, I mean, you need him now, so.
Oh yeah, plus he's really, really good. I watched him play towards the end of last season because he got a few minutes, and he's a very, very good player. I think if he keeps on the way he's going, he could be one of Chelsea's main players if they don't end up selling him.
Right. And what do you think of Pulisic had an assist yesterday? So do you feel like American righteousness now? Because the last time there's a Premier League player American player in the Premier League, it was Chris, goodness gracious, Clinton Dempsey, correct, for Fulham and Tottenham a little bit. So like, there's a really
so.
So now being an American, and obviously we don't have those kind of ties to Premier League clubs, like the local ties with the dad thing, whatever. And of course, your dad roots for Arsenal.
Yeah.
So like, do you feel like you are you're like the moral upbringer of the red, white, and blue now?
I enjoy seeing an American play in the Premier League, especially him doing so well, because I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, the American, they just bought him for jersey sales or whatever. But after seeing him play, he's very, very good on the ball, and he's very intelligent. And he was able to pretty much he was able to sufficiently like break down Liverpool. I mean, he got an assist. He was able to break down Liverpool's defense, and they literally won the Champions League.
Yeah.
He's this really young American who went from playing for Dortmund and really not playing very much to playing for Chelsea in a much more difficult league and doing so well. It's really fun to see.
Well, that was one of the big, dirty secrets with everything that was happening last year after he got sold was, he came up through Dortmund, especially for the American press. Obviously for Chelsea, it's a big signing, but not necessarily, record breaking for them. They spent, with all their money. But for Americans, obviously he smashed the transfer record for Americans in Europe. And they also, when he was at Dortmund, he broke through. He played really well not this past year, but the year before that. And then this last year, he was actually benched for large parts of the year for Jadon Sancho, who's younger, and whenever he gets sold from Dortmund, we'll go for a fee much bigger than Pulisic. But that was and of course, granted, we're talking about Borussia Dortmund, who's the second best club in Germany, has been consistently that excellent, and is a Champions League in and out. So when we say being benched, it's like, okay, yeah, but you're at one of the top, 15, 10 clubs in the world. So that's not anything to sweat at.
It's not like he's getting benched from the Columbus Crew.
Exactly. So obviously he still commanded that big of a fee from Chelsea.
I think he is starting to show. It depends on how he does this first year. Because, of course, it's a lot different playing from Germany to the Premier League.
Right.
But if he plays as well as he did yesterday, then I think that it'll be pretty much worth every penny.
I think the other issue is that people, you can talk about this, Eden Hazard, Chelsea star for many years, legitimate contender for best player in the Premier League, left for Real Madrid in the summer. And people see Pulisic as a like-for-like replacement, and that's the standard. If that is the standard that I don't think you have, but other Chelsea fans have, that is going to be an issue. He's going to fail. Hazard you can't really live up to.
You can't compare Christian Pulisic because he's very young. Hazard's fairly young, but he has a lot more experience playing in the Premier League, and he's just all around. I'd say he's a better player than Christian Pulisic will be. As the trend he's going right now, like Christian Pulisic is going to be a great player, and I think he's going to do very well at Chelsea. But you can't compare. He's always on the short list for the Ballon d'Or, I believe.
Year in, year out.
So you can't. It's hard to compare this basically a kid. He's our age. You can't compare that guy to. Remind me. It's hard. It's hard to compare, and if you set expectations like you did for Hazard, then he's just going to fall short. He's a great player, but you got to put him in his own category. You can compare him to the other young players in the Premier League, sure, but you can't go from being benched on Dortmund to the main guy on a top 5, top 6 Premier League team.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. So it'll certainly be interesting with that. So with the transfer ban, obviously you have a new manager, Frank Lampard, club legend.
Oh yeah, I was a little confused on why that's the manager they went with. Just because, what did he have like 1 year as a coach before he started?
He was coaching at. I don't know if it was 1 year or 2 years, but he was definitely coaching at Derby County last year, and they nearly made the Premier League after they were eliminated in the playoff game, in the championship promotion playoff final. Goodness, it's a mouthful. To Aston Villa, so they were basically the fourth best team. I'll look up how many years it's been, but yeah, so now he's back already. Actually, it looks like 1 year.
So I thought it was weird, but the whole dynamic with Frank Lampard at the club is a lot different than their previous managers. Because like Jose Mourinho always just looks annoyed.
I hate Jose.
And then Antonio Conte was always like he just always looked mad or annoyed. And then Frank Lampard is very animated, but he's like all smiles, and I feel like he just gels with the team a lot better. And it helps that some of the players, I think, Azpilicueta, I don't think I pronounced that right, but I think he played with Lampard.
Probably because Lampard he went to Man City, I remember.
Yeah, and then to NYCFC.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So what are your expectations then for the team? You finished third last year, if I'm correct.
Yes. It was either third or fourth. I don't know. I don't have that high of expectations for them because with the transfer ban, and I know Lampard really wants to stick with some of his older or younger players.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a fairly young team, but I feel like they can be scrappy, and they have enough talent to like maintain top five.
Top five, okay.
Top five. I don't know if they can do top three again.
No, I don't think so.
I think City and Liverpool pretty much have that locked down.
Yeah, I think City wins again, but I agree with you. It's City, Liverpool, probably Tottenham after that.
I don't know about that.
About Spurs?
I don't know. I don't like the Spurs.
Well,
and I don't really think they're... I think that they can't finish their big moments, and they always like fall shorter than they should.
That was the worry in match day 1 when they were playing Aston Villa. It's like, goodness gracious, they're down 1-0, and then finally, Ndombele, what a name, Ndombele, scored. Yeah, I just, for me, it's just, I think Chelsea is the transfer ban, so they'll struggle a little bit. Manchester United, despite their 4-0 win over Chelsea, match day 1, I don't feel like the Pogba stuff's still swirling around. I don't really trust their manager either, so I don't have faith in them.
Yeah, I don't either.
How can you have faith in Arsenal?
I don't know. I used to like the style that they played, but now it's kind of a generic style, I feel like.
Yeah, man.
Because they almost, for a while, they tried to do the tiki-taka like Barcelona.
Yeah, now they play 4-4-2, Aubameyang, Lacazette, please save us.
I mean, when you have those two players, you can literally just send a Hail Mary to them.
Well, that's exactly what they did. I mean, in their 1-0 win over Newcastle, did you see the goal? They just countered. The Newcastle left back gave away the ball, and there was two passes, Aubameyang's foot, goal.
Hey, I mean, at the end of the day, it's the goals that matter. Like, watching Leicester City when they made their title run, like that was some ugly soccer.
Oh yeah.
But they were so efficient at their ugly soccer that it worked out.
Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, that dude, ridiculous. Very good on the counterattack, but as soon as you put as soon as you make them pass around the ball, they're just terrible. They have to give it away so they can counter.
Yeah, I like Leicester this year, though. I think they got some good players. James Maddison, Damari Gray.
Yeah.
Obviously, Vardy's still around. But they had to sell Harry Maguire.
Yeah, of course.
But
he's getting too good.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be really interesting, the Premier League. I'm excited it's back. There's not... Once again, this will be released on Monday, so a lot of the stuff for match day 2 will already happened. I'm trying to think. Is there a game? There's not games tomorrow. They start Saturday, right? Yeah. Man City Tottenham this weekend. All right, so
that'll be interesting.
At Man City. So this is coming out Monday. I'm going to say it. Manchester City's already won. They beat Tottenham 3-1 behind 2 goals from Aguero, and that's that.
That sounds like it could probably happen.
If it just happened. I'm telling you right now. This is Monday.
It just happened.
This is Monday.
Okay. We'll fact check you and see what it's like on Monday.
Exactly. So you have 2 younger brothers.
Yes.
I like your younger brothers.
Sometimes.
What is it like being the oldest brother of the 3? I only have 1 younger brother. But what's it like? Joe is 2 years younger?
Yeah.
No, yeah. And then Maddie is 2 years younger than him.
Yep.
Okay. So
very spaced out.
So what is that like?
I mean, it's very similar to what you experience as an older brother to Max as well. Mm-hmm. It's we're very much the guinea pig for a lot of things.
Oh yeah.
And especially you for sure for going so far away from home for college. But my parents just they do a lot and help out a lot, but a lot of it's like kind of in the unknown. So like sending me to college and some of the things that happen at college, they just not always, they just don't know. But I guess I take the brunt of most punishments because I'm the oldest, and then after whatever outcome happens, Joe and Matthew usually get a lot. They have a lot more leniency.
Yeah, I say your parents though are like they did it right. Your parents are very smart, intelligent people, and they're also just they raised a great family. I'd say. I was telling Katie about that the other day. And especially, I know your parents pretty well just from the soccer stuff. And then your house was like, both of our houses were the hangout houses. It was either one of ours. Oh, yeah. So, I got to interact with them a lot. And it's like, it's a very interesting, like you said, kind of dynamic like that. Now, Max is looking at out-of-state schools too, which is interesting.
I know, but I have a feeling he's going to settle on Bowling Green.
He's going to join you at Bowling Green State University?
Hopefully. Their aviation programs are really interesting.
That's what I've heard. That's what Max was saying, so who knows?
You want to hear something really funny? Well, not really funny, but something very interesting about the aviation field.
Let's hear it.
So I have a friend.
Okay.
I'm not going to name said friend.
Okay.
But said friend got a DUI.
All right.
At college, and he was going to be a criminal justice major.
Okay.
And of course, you cannot be a police officer if you have a DUI.
Seriously? So that's a law?
I'm not sure if it's a law or if it's a preference, but it's going to show up on your record.
Okay.
And that's very frowned upon. So he dropped that program.
Okay.
And went straight into aviation, and now he is getting his pilot's license soon.
Is the DUI the same for a pilot if you're...
I have no idea.
Is it
I just
the same charge?
I just found it so weird that it's you can't drive a cop car, but you can drive this airliner.
Especially with it, I know DUIs are bad, and obviously you should never do anything that requires you to get one of those, or where you're given one of those. But what is it? Is a DUI a felony or is it a misdemeanor or is it either?
I have no idea. I have not done much research into that because I don't. I've never found myself in that situation.
Yeah, exactly. I'm same with you. I don't foresee myself ever having that issue.
Right. It's just kind of like a common sense thing.
So, especially with Uber and Lyft now, you've no excuse.
Oh yeah, it's so easy. I'm gonna go back to the Europe trip, but I've never used. I never used Uber before, never in the States. And then I used it all the time in Europe because it's just so easy.
Yeah, it's so easy. And, especially over here now, I used it for airports and stuff like that when I have to go to the airport, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's really smart.
So it's just so easy, but also with the whole, obviously there's been, I guess, probably 10, 15 years ago before we grew up, now we're almost at drinking age, where
almost,
where, drunk driving really became a big focus and stuff like that. I know back in the day, when our parents were our age, it wasn't that big of a thing. People didn't see it as a big risk, whatever. It's like if you drove buzzed, you're fine, whatever. But now, it would be, if you're going, if for instance, your birthday's in January, if you went out in January and you were like, yeah, I'm driving home, I had a couple beers, I'd be like, Michael, like, you know what I mean? It'd be like, you're really sure about that? So especially at college campuses, I mean, they're all just all around here. So
because you don't even want to have anything in your system at all.
That's how I am.
Like, you're going to have issues. Like, even if you're under the limit, I just don't feel like it's worth it.
No, and especially because as you get older, I'm sure you get a more refined, understanding of, okay, if I eat and have this many beers or whatever,
then you can kind of gauge it better.
Yeah, I know my dad has a rule for him, like in his mind. But when we go out boating and stuff like that at our cabin, but for as we're not even at the age yet, but it's like it's hard because there's so many other factors than your just natural tolerance of it. It's like what you eat. When did you eat? You're drinking water.
Other stuff like, are you fatigued?
Exactly.
Or like what time of day? Like if it's like 2 a.m, you're going to be tired and sluggish from the alcohol. So it just kind of plays into effect. Yeah. An interesting thing that I noticed in Portugal.
Okay.
You can drink and drive there.
You can, like, legally?
You can, like, legally. Like,
this is a good time to say the drinking age in Portugal is below the U.S., so if this is all legal, government don't come after us.
The legal age in Portugal is 18, but they won't ID you. Like, I think most of my coworkers told me that they were drinking at age like 15 and 16.
Wow. Okay.
But there it's treated a lot differently. Like it's less stigmatized as like something that you do to party.
Yeah.
Or other stuff like that. Like people don't just go out drinking all the time to have fun. They'll do that like side by side with fun. Like at my work, they had a cafeteria like right outside my work building. And they literally had their beer Super Bock on tap, like right at the register.
Yeah.
And people would just drink like at lunch or drink with their meal, drink in the middle of a work day. It's just the culture there is just very different.
Oh, for sure.
I never did that, but I did see a lot of my coworkers drinking right before break.
Yeah. Well, I think part of it is that over here, in America, it seems like the binge drinking is the thing. When you're out, you're going out, and binge drinking's like that topic here as a freshman. Going and you're doing your dumb alcohol module before you can sign up for classes. You know what I'm talking about? Every school has it.
Yeah.
And it's like you're barely paying attention to blah blah blah, but really, it really is crazy. How many. When you're doing the binge drinking and that kind of stuff, how much it affects your system, how much it disrupts your system and disrupts your life. Because, I mean, you do that and, when you're younger, you could do it, whatever, as long as you're not in a house, whatever, and you wake up and you'll wake up fine, you know what I mean? You'll have no problem. But when you get older and older, you drink like that, you're not taking care of yourself and you feel like shit and you can't get anything done the next day. And it's crazy because, for me at least, growing up into like as I become an adult and stuff, I can see myself, doing stuff like, hey, before, you're at a game or you're watching a game, whatever, you're having a couple beers, whatever. You might get a little buzz at most, but that's it. You know what I mean? That's like sort of my style.
Controlled.
Yeah. Whereas like
it's less of just like pounding and pounding and pounding. Yeah.
Like I don't need, I could be perfectly sober having an awesome time, and I could have a couple beers and have an awesome time. like in the future,
Right.
you know, that kind of thing. So it's like
Right. You don't need it. I feel like you just run into the issues when you like depend on it in order to have a good time, because your brain kind of associates that kind of feeling with happiness.
Yeah, and all these people they're focusing on, or you know, and then they party and they're doing the shots and stuff like that. I just can't. It just doesn't appeal to me that much to me. I'm a much more chiller, hang out kind of person, you know, in like a group of like 10 people max, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a lot nicer. Plus, you get to like form authentic like relationships with people.
Exactly.
And you get to like hang out with them, you know, while under the influence, and then also like sober. So you really get to hang out with those people rather than this like stereotypical like, I guess, fake friends that only go out and drink. So you don't really know what they're like when they're, you know, normal.
Yeah, because alcohol removes your inhibitions. It makes you different. Yeah, it makes your brain different. When you are drunk, that is like alcohol. There, you have drank so much alcohol that you have overwhelmed your metabolic process of breaking it down. That's what it is.
Yeah, and people just do and say dumb stuff all the time.
Oh, well, yeah, and that's the other thing. When you get injured when you're drunk, you can be so drunk that you won't know you're injured.
Oh, yeah, then you wake up the next morning, you're like, ah, crap, what is this?
Yeah, it's like, oh, there's a stab wound on my body. What?
Yeah, that would be an interesting one to wake up with. But
yeah, I agree. So, yeah, I mean, it's a dangerous thing because people don't see it, you know? It's so much an accepted part of our society, and then you put something like marijuana up, which, you know, is a different thing, certainly, and a different type of buzz, different type of, obviously it's not a drink, it's you smoke or you eat it, and like a completely different type of sensation. But one is in the news being constantly derided, you know, and obviously there's a big federal thing right now within some states are passing it, but still pretty big, and there seem to be some medicinal qualities to marijuana. I can't speak for sure. I haven't read all the studies. I'm not going to quote anything.
Right.
But then alcohol, you know, it's just like, oh yeah, whatever. It's just, it hurts your liver, and you know, and of course in tolerance and in, you know, small quantities, nothing's truly bad for you. I mean, some things are better than others. But
like, what was the study on like red wine? If you have like a glass, like. Mm-hmm. Every once in a while it's good for you. Yeah. But that doesn't mean drink an entire bottle in one day.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's just it's tough. And then you have stuff from marijuana, like you see hemp, you see CBD oil, which are non-THC.
Saw so much of that in Amsterdam. Like literally every shop was a weed shop. I decided against partaking in.
That's what I was going to ask. So
I did not partake in those activities because I figured I don't do it in my own country, and so I'm not going to do it in this foreign country.
Right.
But because I was entirely alone for a week on my own, so I'm like, I'm not about to like put myself in a situation where this idiot's jumping into a canal.
Right. And it's like, especially if you haven't done it before, you know, I imagine you just don't know how you're going to react. You know, I've heard,
exactly.
I've never done it either. I've heard that some people, you know, act like, you know, they act differently. You know, there's like certain types of high people. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I just decided against it. But it was really weird seeing how much and how like easy access there was. There was also a lot of like magic mushrooms. Like there was an old church that I went and saw because, you know, you see a historical site. I went in and there was a gift shop attached to this church. In the gift shop, they were selling like every kind of like thing you could eat with weed, and then just mushrooms getting sold out of a church. I'm like, this seems a bit backwards.
Yeah, the mushroom thing the mushroom thing's crazy to me. But so
yeah,
have you ever used a CBD oil?
No, I haven't. I've seen it a lot, but I mean, I don't use that kind of stuff anyway. Like I don't use moisturizer or stuff like to relax. Mm-hmm. So and it's like a little, I mean, it's not too pricey, but it's like an unnecessary expense in my mind.
Yeah, it's definitely pricey.
I don't use it, so I haven't really tried, but I have heard of people having good experiences with it.
Yeah, I mean, and for people who don't know, it's not to get high or anything like that. There's a lot of research done into it that it helps a lot with inflammation. So inflammation, in your body, it helps a lot with some pain, stuff like that. I've used it before for headaches, and also it is legal, so that's the other thing. Obviously, that's why I'm talking about it.
Have you seen that it works?
Yeah. So sometimes I have really bad headaches. For me, I make this comparison all the time. For some people, it sounds ridiculous. For me, it's really true. I could have the flu and still be able to get some work done. Now you have to wipe down all my crap afterwards. But you know what I mean? Like, you have the flu, you feel like crap. But if I'm sitting at a desk, I can get some stuff done. If I have a really bad headache, for me, I'll get these left-sided headaches. They're probably migraines. I don't know the difference between, people walk around, I have a migraine, and it's like, you're walking. What do you mean? You're fine. Like, for me, like, sometimes I get headaches where I have to lay in bed, and it's just hard to do anything. And so for that, I start doing the extra strength Tylenol. I try drinking water. I'm peeing clear, so I'm not dehydrated.
Right.
That kind of thing. I eat all that stuff, and sometimes it just won't work. And I don't have any. Katie has some. Has a supply of get some CBD oil. Well, that sounds bad. No, she gets it for anxiety because it helps with anxiety as well. So it's anti-anxiety.
I wonder how much of that is like medically sound, like how much it actually works and how much is a placebo effect.
Yeah, it's certainly placebo. It can be. And then the other thing that they call it is anecdotal evidence. So when someone's like, it helps me with pain, and then it's like, it helps with pain, and it's like, well, like you said, it could have been the placebo. So, but
could be a few factors, but
so I say that as I cite my anecdotal evidence. I've used it for multiple times and like I said, nothing else is working. So I've used it multiple times. 3 squirts under the tongue. Headache goes away. It's great.
See, if you find something that works and it's legal, then why not?
Yeah. So I don't have I know some people will use it just to kind of relax as they work and stuff like that too, like you mentioned. Who talks about it is our mutual boy, Joe Rogan.
I love listening to Joe Rogan.
He's a big CBD guy.
Yeah, he's a huge marijuana advocate. I swear to God, in every single episode, there's at least a 10-minute span where he talks about psilocybin or marijuana.
Yeah.
And he just like talks about how good it is. And I'm like, well, I've never tried it and it's illegal in my state. So I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, CBD is legal in Ohio, by the way. I checked before talking to make sure I wasn't going to get arrested.
You can buy it you can even buy it from Walmart.
Yeah. Weed's not yet. So
no.
The thing, it's believe it's like, because he's got to be mid-50s, and I mean he looks so good. I know he's big on all the vitamins and stuff like that. Like he not just vitamins. People throw on vitamins. Like obviously vitamins are good, but specific stuff. The THC, or not THC. Well, I guess weed. Yeah, THC, CBD, stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't necessarily looked into it, but I guess now that I'm talking about it, I probably should have some CBD on hand for head stuff. So who knows?
That his podcasts are the weirdest thing because they literally cover everything.
Yeah, from
MMA to like I've been listening to a lot of like wilderness and like endurance athletes, and listening to that, and then he'll have he's a very. I think I saw something online that said a bunch of people are petitioning him to do like the debate between Donald Trump and whoever gets the nomination from the Democrats. I mean, that would be good because he brings on Republican speakers.
No, yeah, he's a very neutral
he has
guy.
rational he has rational conversations, and then he has that are not biased in any way. And then he'll have I think the most recent person he had on was Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
And like that's a big Democratic name.
Right, yeah. So
I feel like I feel like he'd be the perfect person,
I think when you kind of have like a general podcast, kind of like this one is, I'm just bringing people on, talking to friends, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
At first I was trying to be really segmented, at the beginning. And now that I've kind of restarted it, starting with the Thorn episode in July, I think it's episode 19, whatever, just trying to be more free with it. And, I started listening to a show a couple months ago, every day almost. And he'll do 3-hour shows. And obviously I'm never going to do that because, that's a lot of time.
That's a lot of editing, but that's also his full-time job.
Exactly.
So. Or no, he's also a comedian, I believe.
Yeah, well, he got famous off of WWE or MMA, and then he did Fear Factor. He always mentions that. He's done some TV shows, and now he's a stand-up comedian. But yeah, his podcast was in the top 5 downloaded every year. So it's kind of like you're saying, like he goes with everything, and he's good in the sense that as a host, he doesn't take over the show. So it's kind of
right. There's a good thing. Yeah, it's a good thing, and I think you're doing a very good job here with it's more of a conversation than like an interview or anything like that.
Yeah, you always got to start it out with something kind of like that, like how we started with the Portugal stuff. It's always kind of like, you have to get everyone kind of thought out because everyone when they come on is always a little nervous, right? I get a little nervous before each show just because it's like if this is crap, I just waste an hour of my life and people aren't going to like it. So,
I don't think I was too nervous.
No, you've been fine.
I was gonna say I've known you for how long? Ever since I came to Ridgeville.
So
we played
long.
Soccer together. So it's just talking to my friend.
That's right. So yeah, I think obviously if you aren't listening to Joe Rogan, it's fantastic. He is my favorite comedian. So he's going to Cleveland, by the way, and Detroit.
Really?
I don't know. Is Detroit closer to you technically?
Detroit is about an hour and a half from BG, I believe.
Yeah.
And then home is like an hour 30, hour 45.
Well, yeah, Joe's going to Detroit and Cleveland in like back-to-back nights in October. You should check that out if you want to go.
Oh, that'd be really cool. Yeah. I've never listened to his comedy. I just more of
oh God.
Listen to
Netflix, go on his watch his special right now. Cancel your plans for the day.
You should be getting sponsored by Joe Rogan.
Oh God! No. This will never be that big. I wish. No, he's a fantastic. His comedy's really good. His 2 skits. I watched both of them with Katie. Then I showed the one to my dad. That's how good it was. I brought my dad in to see it, and he loved it. So.
Your dad also has a very similar sense of humor as us.
Yes, he does. One day he'll come on here. One day he will. But yeah,
that'll be really interesting.
I don't even know what we talk about.
I think that'll be your first 3-hour podcast.
It could be that, or when I get Coach George on here, he's on my list.
No, really?
Yeah, he's on my list. He doesn't know he's on my list, but he's on my list of prospective guests.
That would be really good. That one definitely 4 hours. You got to schedule a whole day out.
Oh, I'd have to split it up. I'd have to I'd split up into 4 parts to get quadruple the downloads.
Oh yeah, but also Coach George is such a good speaker.
He's been a great mentor to me.
Oh yeah, he's definitely been one of the best mentors, and I've cited him in any report where it's like, oh, name a time where you really struggled. It's like, oh Coach George.
You already know. We were, so for people that don't know, you and I had a new soccer coach our senior year after the previous 3 years did not go well, and we really needed a culture change. And there wasn't even a culture to start with, so I guess that's...
It was a very lazy culture.
Yeah, and it's also for high school people, it's hard to get a culture. It is hard, and the teams that build that end up being really good. So, with this incredibly energetic man comes in. We knew him before because he's been involved in the community before, and he completely changed everything. Ex-Marine, it's just everything. And he will, if you put in your time to him, he will dedicate so much time to you. As you and I both know, we've stayed close with him throughout. We go back and we'll work with guys in the summer. Obviously, you still have a brother on the team. We go back and work with them, and it's truly incredible. And like I said, I would love to get him on here just because of the amount of life advice he has given me. And if he gave 10% of that advice on the show, it would, people would be changed by it because it's truly incredible, his perspective. And, how much he really understands about the world.
Oh yeah, he's so knowledgeable. I don't like. He literally coaches. What did he do when he was coaching us? He worked like the night shift for Euclid PD.
Yeah, he's a police officer now.
So he worked the night shift, would sleep like 2 hours, and get up and coach us for practice.
And he has energy.
And he did that every day.
It's fantastic. Truly,
the man's literally insane.
I meant to text him that we talked about him. He'd be like, "What did you say?
What did you say?
He's just start berating
did you tell
me."
them? That was also the hardest I think I've ever worked for anything in my life.
I was the most in shape that year. I'll never be more in shape.
Yeah, we'll never be more in shape because what other? I don't care what you do, because unless you're like literally, because he had us running for like 4 or 5 hours a day in the summer.
Yeah, they were long. I mean, yeah, we're split up over 2 days. Don't make them sound like a criminal. 2 days.
Oh no, yeah, they were
2 practices.
2 practices, not 5 hours straight. No, but the tryout was from like 9 o'clock in the morning until like 4 or 5 o'clock.
Yeah, it was
at
a
night.
full day. But then again, we had breaks, we had snacks and stuff and lunch. But
oh yeah, we had a few snack breaks. But like this man, I've never had a coach ask for me to go run a 2 mile. And that was that year. That was the fastest 2 mile I've ever ran. It was like a 13:50, which I mean, if you're a cross country runner, that's like a crap time. But for me, that was good. Or no, it was 12:50. It was 12:50 because I did it a minute and a half below the time that I did the previous 3 years.
I mean, that's insane. That's a great 2 mile, even for a soccer player.
And then do 100 juggles. Juggle the ball 100 times. After your legs feel like jelly.
And we did it. We all did it.
And we all did it. And I'm a terrible juggler. And having him as a coach, that pushed me like crazy. Because who wants to miss out on making their team their senior year? You can't.
Well, yeah, and now they're double-digit wins every year. So.
Oh yeah, I mean the culture. It took a year or two to get the people that still had our old coach.
Yeah, we were the guinea pigs.
And I feel some of our classmates rejected his ideas.
Yeah, well, it's a big shock.
Oh yeah, it's a bigger culture shock than going overseas. I'll tell you that. Going from being able to walk a 2 mile and make varsity, to if you don't make this, you don't even make JV. You just straight up training squad or not on the team.
I'd also say there's a big thing with, as a high school kid, you always think you know a lot. You know a lot more than you do, especially being from North Ridgeville. It's a town of maybe 60,000 people, and it's not the small town. There's not nobody there. But, it's almost like the suburb, and you still get enough of the small town vibe there to where you think you know a lot of stuff. And then, obviously you're now an international traveler, a very esteemed one at that. And I've come down here. I think it takes a little bit for those lessons to set in. The same thing I kind of had with my parents. I was like, damn, they were right about a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I ignored them for years.
The more you learn, the more you realize you don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Which is... It surprises you.
Yeah, the world is an insane place. But yeah,
the world is very insane. And the other thing that just blew my mind when I was in, this is the last thing about Europe I'll bring up, but when I was in Greece, because I was alone, I went on this like little cruise. It was very cheap. It was just like a private like fisherman. It was taking people out. There's this family. These people were have dual citizenship in Denmark and Colombia. So they're on this trip with me, and they have these two little kids. I think one was in preschool and one was in kindergarten. So they were like able to talk, but not like have like full conversations. But these kids loved talking to me because it was their chance to practice English. And I was asking them, I'm like, how many languages do you know? They're like, oh, the kids know 4 and they're learning their 5th language next year. And that just kind of like set and blew my mind. Like these kids know 100 times more than me.
Right. Well, that's what
Like,
they say. It's like the some of the biggest, correlation like to understanding and being really smart in the world is picking up a second language, because then you can pick up a third and you can go on and on. So it's like, that's insane.
Yeah, it just kind of blew my mind. I'm like, where else in the world? Well, and that's all over Europe too. Like most people don't just speak one language. The only countries where I found where they mostly only speak their home language is England.
Right.
Mostly just speak English. France, mostly just speak French, unless you're working in like something where you have to deal with people, like at a restaurant, they spoke English, but just your average day run of the mill French person only spoke French. Mm-hmm. And then in Spain, it was terrible. Not even the people, like not even the waiters or people around the street, they just spoke Spanish.
Yeah, it's tough. Spanish obviously is the second. It's probably I guess Chinese is probably the second biggest language in the world, just because there's so many Chinese people.
But it's a popular language.
Yeah, well, I know that people. I know someone who took Mandarin. I can't remember who it was in college.
Carly Cubitt.
That's who it was.
She took it in high school.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. And she did terrible, didn't she? It's just so hard.
I think she understood it, but she only took like a few years.
Oh,
and a language like that, where you just have completely, it's just completely different.
Yeah,
I feel like it takes a lot longer.
Because it's symbols. It's like Hebrew.
Yeah, it's symbols. Like, what are you supposed to make out with that?
Right.
Like one of my friends from college, he's also an Eagle Scout. He's currently trying to learn. Like he knows German. Okay. And he's fluent in German, but he's also trying to learn Russian. And he's just like, try to guess what this word means.
Yeah,
it's
a different alphabet.
I don't even know how.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's just so different. So more props to people that can speak different languages. Like even if you're like have Latin descent and you can only speak Spanish and not like write it, because I know we had a few students in our like a few classmates. Mm-hmm. They couldn't write Spanish. Like more props to you, because.
Oh, I agree completely. All right, well, I've got to get running. I got a round of golf to play. We'll see how I do.
Yes. Good luck at the golf.
Michael, thank you for coming on. We'll definitely do this again in the future.
Of course, you'll just have to let me know.
Of course. You already know. So, thank you for a fantastic conversation. Take care, my friend.
All right. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Assist Podcast. If you like the show, go drop a 5-star rating. That really helps us keep the show going. If you want to stay updated with all of the podcast episodes, hit the subscribe button, and also go follow our Twitter, which is @assist_podcast, and our Instagram, which is now the Assist Podcast. And you can write any emails, any suggestions you have to theassistpod@yahoo.com, and we'll see you next week.